On a dark Halloween night, a thick fog hugged the ground, muting the sounds of trick-or-treaters in the distance and casting the whole town in an eerie silence. The moon was full, its pale light struggling to cut through the fog, casting strange shadows that danced around Radek's family home. Inside, Radek, the loyal Belgian Malinois, sat watching his family laugh and cheer at a Halloween movie, oblivious to the chill creeping into the air outside. Suddenly, Radek's ears pricked up, sensing something wrong. A strange odor wafted through the air, damp earth mixed with something foul, something decayed. His eyes narrowed as he focused on the noises outside, sounds only he could hear, like soft scraping footsteps dragging over the gravel outside the gate. The hairs on his back stood up, his senses sharpened. Something unnatural was near. Without a sound, Radek crept to the front window, his dark brown body melting into the shadows as he peeked through a crack in the curtains. Just beyond the gate, silhouetted by the moon's pale light, were shadows moving with slow, awkward steps, not like any people he'd ever seen. His heart raced, and his mind flooded with instinct. Protect. His family was in danger. With a low, determined growl, Radek slipped out through the dog door, the cool night air wrapping around him. He stood outside, his keen eyes scanning the street, where more figures slowly shuffled into view. These were not trick-or-treaters. Pale and hollow-eyed, with ragged clothes and bony, rotten hands stretching forward, a horde of zombies advanced, their blank gazes fixed on the house. Radek's muscles tensed. With a deep, fierce bark, he warned them to stay back. But the zombies pressed on, their groans echoing like a twisted chorus through the night. There was no turning back now. Radek crouched low, his eyes flashing as he prepared for the fight. The first zombie lurched forward, its movements jerky, reaching out with bony fingers. Radek sprang into action, his powerful legs launching him forward. He darted left, then right, avoiding its grasp and biting down on its rotten arm, forcing it to the ground. Another zombie shuffled close, but Radek was faster, whirling around and knocking it back before it could take another step. The groans grew louder as more zombies crowded around, their decomposing faces inches from Radek as they clawed at him. He was outnumbered, but not outmatched. His agility kept him just out of reach, darting between them, always a step ahead, leading them in circles and forcing them away from the house. Each leap and snap kept the undead at bay. A moment of weariness hit him as he faced yet another zombie, this one taller, its hollow eyes burning with a strange, lifeless hunger. The zombie lunged, nearly grabbing Radek's leg, but he twisted just in time, feeling its icy fingers graze his fur. With a fierce growl, Radek gathered his strength and lunged, his teeth sinking into its tattered sleeve, pulling it to the ground. For hours, the battle raged under the moon's ghostly glow. The street was a battlefield, and Radek, bruised but undeterred, fought on. His once sleek fur was now matted with dirt, and his muscles burned with every movement. Yet he wouldn't relent. Every time the zombies tried to surround him, he broke through, a relentless force standing between his family and the horde. Then, just as dawn's first light began to peek over the horizon, the zombies froze, their pale eyes squinting against the rising sun. The night's dark magic seemed to lift, and one by one the undead retreated, shuffling back into the shadows from which they'd come, vanishing with the fog as the sunlight grew stronger. Exhausted, but victorious, Radek stood alone on the quiet street, watching as the last figure disappeared. His chest heaved as he took in the silence that had returned to the night. He had done it. He had kept his family safe. With heavy steps, Radek turned back to the house, slipping inside just as the first rays of morning touched the windows. His family was still asleep, blissfully unaware of the battle he had fought. As they began to stir, they found him lying by the door, his fur ruffled, his paws worn, and his eyes filled with the quiet triumph of a hero. In that moment, Radek wasn't just their pet. He was their protector, the fierce guardian who had faced the terrors of the night. For on that unforgettable All Hallows' Eve, Radek had proven himself as the bravest of defenders, a silent warrior who would stop at nothing to keep his family safe.